Hello again. In this session we will add Jenkins notification support for notify the team about a different kind of events that occurs during a pipeline build, like pipeline fails, succeed, or any other kind of events that we want to report. As you can see here, Jenkins supports several notifications techniques. We can use email, Slack, desktop notifiers, instant messaging, and so on. In this session, we will configure email notification, and for this, we need to go in Jenkins interface. Now, before I configure the email server, we need to install the mailer plugin. So first install this plugin, and after that in Jenkins we need to go to manage Jenkins, configure system. Here we must locate the email notification section. We need the SMTP server address, which in this case is localhost. We can use a default suffix if we want to compute the user email. Now we click advanced. We have to specify the SMTP port, in this case 25. We also can use SSL, and we can provide the credentials to authenticate Jenkins to our email server. And we can try to test by providing an email address. Okay, now before I will do the test, you have to know that I am using this fake SMTP server on localhost port 25, so I'm expecting to see the email here. In a real scenario, you have to provide the address of a real email server. Now I will test. The email was successfully sent, and we can see here that we received an email. Actually, our test address received an email, so Jenkins is able to communicate with our SMTP server. Okay, we can save now. Just in case you want to obtain a fine-tuned email, you can also install this emailxt plugin, which will provide you more configurations. For example, after installing emailxt plugin, you will obtain this, an extended email notification section. As you can see, there are several settings, like default subject, default content. You can set list of email addresses to reply. You can exclude email addresses, set a default list, and so on. So you can fine-tune here an entire email process. And in order to accomplish this easier, you can use this article, sending notifications in pipeline. It has a plenty of useful information. You can see here, for example, how you can notify by Slack, by HypeChat, and with email. So with this article, with this plugin, and with the pipeline syntax, you can achieve a real powerful email process. Okay, in this video we will use the simple email notification. Now that we have set up the email configuration, we can try to use it in our Jenkins file. So in this scenario I will focus on unit testing stage. The main idea is that if any of our steps will fail during running unit testing, JUnit report or Jacoco running, we want to be notified by email. For this I will add the following code. Okay, so as you can see, I have surrounded the code with a try catch. Basically we try to say run this code and catch any exception, and we have here a flag. This is a Jenkins flag. If everything works fine, then we set up current build result to success. Other way we set it to failure. So in case of a failure we also add this step to send an email to notify. We can notify an email, we can notify individual addresses. You simply can explore this step in the pipeline syntax and configure, customize as you like. We also throw this exception, and you can see here we also have a finally block. This you can use this finally block in case that you want to do something what doesn't matter if the unit testing stage succeed or not. The finally block it is always executed. So if you want to, for example, to receive an email no matter what, then you can simply add a step like this one inside the finally block. Okay, one more thing we have to accomplish. We have to go in our application source code, and we have to cause a unit test failure. So this way we will basically instruct the pipeline to hit this code. For this I will go in this unit test, and for example I will modify this assertion to hello to you. This will cause the test to fail. Okay, now we can commit. Okay, and we can try to fire a build. Okay, the build has started. I will speed up the video now. Okay, the pipeline end, and as you can see it failed. Now let's check out a little bit the output. First, we notice the fact that unit test failed in branch unit test, and we also see the message that an email was sent. Another important aspect is the fact that the integration test fire up this message sending interrupt signal to process, since we run in parallel the unit test and integration test, and unit test failed, and we have this setting we want to fail fast. Basically Jenkins has automatically interrupted the integration tests also, and have failed the pipeline. So we have now an email. As you can see it, our email server received this email with the subject build failed in Jenkins project 60. As you can see here, this is the build number 60, and we can try to open this email content. I have opened it in this file here, and basically it contains a part of the pipeline output, and we see here the fact that we have a unit test failure, and we have several details about it. So everything worked as expected. In addition, we may want to see if there is any container running. As you can see here, there is no container running, which means that even if the pipeline failed, Jenkins has successfully destroyed the unit test and integration test containers. Okay, now most probably you will want to be informed about, especially about when the pipeline fails, and this means that you have to reinforce your pipeline code with multiple try-catch blocks. You can do this per stage, per step, and so on. So it is recommended to add such checks and the notification, especially in the sensitive parts of the pipeline, and whenever you find it necessary. Beside reinforcing the pipeline code with try-catch blocks, you can also use the retry techniques, especially for the parts of the code when you need to interact with remote parts, with for example, when you need to interact with GitHub may not respond from first attempt, and it is a good technique to retry this several times. You can use a timeout to retry after a period of time, and so on. Maybe a second or a third attempt will succeed, and this will not cause the pipeline to fail. For example, I've used the same retry technique here when we try to push the new branch in GitHub. Again, this connection to GitHub may time out, and it is a good idea to retry the process. If it will not succeed after 5 retries or whatever number of retries you set, and with the timeout you set, and so on, then you can consider the pipeline failed. But it is a good technique to reinforce the code, and at least when you interact with remote connection, to not give up after the first attempt. In the next session, we will focus on providing Artifactory as the main dependency repository for the pipeline and for the developers' machines. See you soon.